Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Joining us is Lauren Green, who is the Fox News chief religion correspondent. She has been with Fox reporting on all of the great major events in religion for many years. And she is an incredible woman who is very knowledgeable on these issues. And we are thrilled to be able to have her on this Sunday morning because she is right there in Rome, Italy. Lauren Green, thank you so much for doing this. It has got to be an incredible experience being in Rome, being near the Vatican. What is the atmosphere like there?
Well, it's an amazing attitude because, remember, this is the year of Jubilee, so many Catholic pilgrims had planned to be in Rome, and especially at Easter, because it's a year of Jubilee, which is every 25 years. So many of them were already here and then saw the Pope and then realized the Pope was dead on Easter Monday. So people who had thought that they might see Pope realize they're here for now his funeral. So it's a much different attitude, a much different atmosphere, really. I mean, people are standing in these long lines to see the mortal remains of Pope Francis, and they're standing in line for up to 5-6 hours to get a bare glimpse of him. But a lot of people are doing it.
And where is his body in state, Lauren Green?
His body's lying in state in St. Peter's Basilica. It is in front of the altar of confession, which is just above the crypt where the bones of St. Peter, the first pope, is at the tomb of St. Peter's. You know, the Bible says, on this rock I will build my church, and was the rock of Peter, the first apostle. So it is now, that's what St. Peter's Basilica is. And so Pope Francis's body in a very simple wooden coffin is placed in front of that altar, in front of the altar of confession, facing the people on a slight incline, not on a high bier or anything like that, but on just a slight incline. And so as people pass, they can see him in his red robe and mitre, and his hands crossed with carrying a rosary. And it's quite beautiful, but it's quite it's very emotional. I mean, I've seen people weeping and crying. We went through the line yesterday, and it was, you realize it's an historical event, but then it's also a time to say goodbye to a beloved man.
Yes. And, I understand that it was the Pope who decided that his casket should be made of wood and nothing special.
Yes, this is part of Pope Francis's wishes. He wanted to simplify all of the pomp and pageantry surrounding the funeral of a pope. This is in line with his wishes. He was not an elaborate man. Remember, he issued the papal palace to live in and opted for the more humble domicile of the St. Marta residence, which is really kind of a hotel that John Paul II kind of built for the purpose of housing a lot of the cardinals that would come for big events, and maybe the consistories, or, yes, the death of a pope and the conclave. So he opted to stay in that residence rather than the papal palace.
Okay, so, before we get into his background, and I'm so excited to have you on the show, Lauren Green, I want to talk about the procedure. So cardinals are coming in from all over the world, as long as they are, as I understand it, under the age of 80. These 135 cardinals are eligible to vote. They vote in the Sistine Chapel. Talk to me about that.
Well, right now, they are coming into Rome for the funeral, and every day they've been having these general congregation meetings to talk about the details surrounding the conclave, which they have not actually officially said which date it will start. But then what happens is there are 135 cardinals that are of voting age, under 80, but there are 252 cardinals in total. So many of them can come, even if they're not voting age, and be a part of the congregations to talk and to explore the future of the church or what it should be. So as of last Thursday, there were about 113 cardinals in town for the congregation meetings, where there'll be meetings every morning, and then they will. It is a secretive ballot. There are 132 now, the Vatican says, that actually will be coming for a voting age. One is infirm and will not be coming. There were 2 more that dropped out. So I believe that there are 132 that will be coming. Remember, the number is 120 that John Paul said. So they're not down to that yet, but we're not sure if they're going to take the 132 or if they have to discount some of the votes or decide who gets to vote and who doesn't. So,
but Lauren, I don't understand. You indicated that there will be 252 cardinals. Why can't they vote?
Because they're over 80.
Really?
Now, only cardinals under 80 can vote.
So it's the age thing.
The ones
Interesting.
Right, exactly. But the ones over 80 are welcome to come, but they can't be in the conclave. They will not be voting.
When does the conclave start? When do the cardinals go into, secrecy, the Sistine Chapel, leave their phones, go in there and vote? When does that happen?
The soonest it can begin is on May 4th or 5th. But the cardinals have not said what, but they can't go beyond 20 days after the Pope's death. So within that range, that's when it'll start. They haven't said when the conclave will actually begin. But they can't, many of them probably won't leave. So we're assuming that it would be more on before May 4th or 5th.
Okay. You were so knowledgeable on this stuff, Lauren Green. I mean, take us through the next few days since the conclave is not yet meeting. And, are they politicking these cardinals? I mean, if you watch the movie Conclave with Ralph Fiennes, and the interesting thing is they didn't dream of nominating him for an Academy Award, and I thought he was phenomenal in it. A lot of people, that's their only reference. We're not involved. We don't have cameras in there.
I had a problem with that movie.
Yeah,
I could not get through half of that movie. I'm sorry. I just it just. One of my producers had said, doctors should never watch ER. Lawyers should never watch, Law and Order, and people who cover religion should never watch religious movies made from Hollywood.
That is so true.
I got so frustrated. I go, okay, I'm done.
Okay, but there is politicking in there. I mean, they can try to convince the other person that they would be the best pope. Yes?
They're human. They're human. And so, but I have never met a cardinal who did not exude some level of priestly godliness. I just have never met them. And maybe they do exist. There are 252 cardinals. I've not met them all. I've met a lot of the American cardinals, but they are very godly men. And I never get the impression that their first thought, their first goal is to be pope or is to be the archbishop of a major metropolitan archdiocese. I just have never met that person. Most of the cardinals and the priests and the bishops I've met are very happy serving their flock and being shepherds and trying to bring them to Christ. Those are the men that I know. The conclave version, but I guess there's, we're human. We're just human, right? So there is that little bit of, and then there's that phrase, of course, those who enter the Sistine as a cardinal, as a pope will exit as a cardinal. Basically, it's, listen, I've been involved in pageants. I understand how it works. I just want to serve the world and be happy and, have world peace.
Well, wait a minute. Won't you miss somebody? Wait a minute. I was looking you up, Lauren. You were a Miss Minnesota? Where?
I was Miss Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back so in pageants for sure.
I know pageants and I know how they work. And the conclave is not a pageant, but it is a voting situation where someone is going to determine somewhat subjectively who they believe is the best candidate to lead this organization forward. Yeah. But there is a great deal of prayer that goes into those decisions. In fact, every cardinal must take an oath of secrecy, but also when they put that ballot in, yes, they say, as God is my witness, as God is my witness. And I don't care if you're an atheist. When you say those words, God as my witness, you're thinking, well, if there is a God, I am actually swearing on him right now, so I better be careful. I mean, I just think that there is a sense in your heart when you say, as God is my witness, I put this vote in, believing that this is the person who should be the next Bishop of Rome, the successor to Peter. This is when you get in front of those judges, that when you get in a judge and somebody takes an oath, things change. Yes, things
indeed.
Change.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
And now, 2 pigeons bemoaning the fact you can choose the TV you want with DirecTV.
So now they can pick out their favorite entertainment when they sign up and save money?
You mean if you like sports?
You can get a sports pack.
What about entertainment?
Entertainment pack.
It's like finding an old pizza with your favorite toppings, which for me would be pineapple and toenails.
Pineapple?
Pay for the TV you want, not the TV you don't.
Genre pack starting at $34.99 a month. Visit DirecTV.com for more information. New residential customers only. Local channels vary by market. Services renew monthly unless you cancel online. Credit card required. Restrictions apply.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original. Which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Finally, let me ask you this. We've never had an American Pope. Any chance of that?
Yeah, no. No, and when I love Cardinal Dolan.
I do too.
If I were voting, I'd vote for Cardinal Dolan. And I think he would be the right person for the papacy and for the world. But the world is more than America. And so far, nobody really wants an American Pope. And I don't think that the world is ready for that. I kind of believe it may go back to an Italian. Everybody's kind of betting on the Secretary of State, Cardinal Parolin, which I think it probably makes sense because he's the second in command. He's the closest to Francis.
Yes.
There's a continuity there that you kind of want when a pope dies.
Yeah.
In fact, Francis had the second highest number of votes when Benedict was elected. So it made sense that they went for him this time, in 2013. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren Green, you are a font of information. Lauren Green, God bless you.